that you guys are coming back for week 3 of science. It's going to be amazing. Just my normal reminders, if this is your first time coming to watch us, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and click to get notifications. If we go live for some other fun reason that's not 11:30 PST, you will know about it and you'll get that notification. My girls are sort of obsessed with slime lately, and we found an amazing slime recipe. Hoping to do something maybe on Zoom this week to do slime with you guys if you want to do that. But I don't know when that will be. If you want a shout out, make sure you type in our comments box and I will get to our shout outs after we talk about some of our supplies and we'll do an update on some of our experiments. So if you haven't gathered your supplies, this is what you're going to need today so that we can make these awesome hands that we can say like, hang tight. So you'll need some beads, not completely mandatory or necessary. They just sort of go on the bottoms of this. But if you have beads, it's really helpful. You're going to need a pair of scissors because we're going to cut some, and a pen or a pencil so we can draw around our hands. You will need either tape or hot glue, up to you, whichever one works best for you and your family. You'll need, held that upside down. You'll need some straws. And if you don't have straws, just a sheet of paper, and I'll show you how to make some straws out of the paper. You'll need some string, and then you'll need some cardboard, like cardstock paper is. If not, you could do like light cardboard, which is for us is just a cereal box, and that works great. If you don't have any cereal boxes to spare, you could use like a recent Amazon box. It's a little harder to cut, so this is like very cuttable for little hands. So you need that for today, and then some upcoming supplies for this week, because we are doing a whole bunch of stuff with our bodies, and we're going to do some digestion and we're going to extract some DNA. So just next time you go to the grocery store, pick up some things like bananas or some strawberries. If you want to extract your own DNA, you'll need something like Gatorade or a salt water, but that won't taste while we swish it around. So maybe some Gatorade if you guys are going to the store. And then we're going to do a really cool project all together. So I'll do it here. And if you don't have the supplies, no big deal. But if you wanted to do it at home and watch it at home, you would need some clear gelatin and some pineapple or meat tenderizer. And then you can do that project. But that's a project we'll also do here, and we'll check back in with that project regularly. And speaking of checking back in on projects, we do have a couple ongoing projects that we did last week and the week before. So we'll change our mummies tomorrow. If you're doing that with us and you're learning about the osmosis and you're doing mummies, we'll change that salt tomorrow. You can change it if you want to, no big deal. Because I wanted to little sort of greenhouses that we made, but these were the ones where we wanted to learn about how the color of light affects plant growth. And we had a slight catastrophe with our ones that we built with the LEDs. They got knocked over and they're not happy. But we still have these ones, which is perfect. So we can still check our project. This one was clear. If you remember, the clear was our control. So what we could do is we could pop off the bag and we can look, and there is a little pea sprout that's growing there. And we also checked 2 colors that we were curious about. So I have green that's in the middle, and then I'm gonna put it down so we don't knock it over. And then we also have blue. And if you're doing this with us, what you could do is later today, you could check your color and you can write down some observations. For example, I'm noticing that the clear and blue have shoots that are maybe about 1 or 2 centimeters long. They're definitely green. They're coming straight up right now, and they're seeming very happy and healthy. And then I might notice that the green one is maybe about 1/2 centimeter tall to 1 centimeter tall. So it's definitely less, it's not growing as much as the other 2 right now. And it seems like it's sort of flopping over a little bit more than the others. The others seem to be sort of coming up like this, and this one's going over. So I could draw that. So if I have a journal, I could draw that to compare later. And then once you've done your observations, you're gonna want to make sure you put the same colors on. And to do that, I have actually labeled all of our yogurt cups with a B, a G, or a C for control. And you're gonna put on your color filters, and you can put that back into your windowsill so that we can check back in on them next week because plant growth takes a really long time. So this will be a long-term project we can do over the next 6 weeks. All right, so while you guys are gathering supplies, let's give some shout outs to people who are here today.
All right, so Elliot was first and he says, hello.
Hello, Elliot. Elliot was here like way before class time. I love it. He's ready to roll.
We have Elsa and Lauren.
Good morning, Elsa and Lauren. I say good morning. It's 11:30 out here. It's like lunchtime, but it feels like morning.
And then the Lindberghs, Amelia, Chloe, and Calvin.
Yay, Amelia, Chloe, and Calvin, you're back. I'm so excited. This will be a fun one.
I'm going to do my best. Venetia.
No, it is not Venetia, because we're going to go to Venice and drink tea, and I love, I emphasize tea, it's Venetia.
Venetia.
Get it.
We'll find out.
We'll cross our fingers.
Then we have hello from the Hertz. Only one of them right now.
Oh, but hopefully you guys will join later.
Jacob and Taylor.
Hello, Megan.
And Jackson's here.
Hello, Jackson. Good morning, afternoon.
No, he's here. He's up there.
I know. Yeah. He's here. It's sort of kind of morning.
And Elsa.
Hello, Elsa.
Oh, wait. That was somebody else.
Oh.
Kaya's here.
Hello, Kaya. Oh, I'm so excited you're joining us, even though it's your spring break. You're still coming to science. Yes.
And then
makes me happy.
The good kids, the best last name ever.
Of course, the good kids. They're going to be great.
George and Henry, say hi.
Hello, George and Henry.
Oh, you know what? Elsa and Lauren said that their clear bag sprouted already too.
Yay! So we have another group. Elsa and Lauren are telling me that their clear bag sprouted. I'm curious what color, if you guys want to comment, what color you're using and if that one sprouted. Curious about that.
Raiden's here.
Oh, Raiden. Yes, so you're joining us again. I'm so happy.
And Callie's here.
Hello, Callie.
And Connor says hi with capital I and exclamation.
Hi, Connor.
And
I like that. I like trying to figure out how I should say it.
And it looks like we got Venetia's name right.
Yes.
And Abel. Hey, Abel.
Hello, Abel. How are you today?
And look, Rex and Joseph are here.
Yes, Rex and Joseph joining us again.
And the final call out right now, we have Rachel.
Hello, Rachel. How are you today? All right. I'm super excited. We got a few new families, and the more, the merrier. It makes me so happy. All right. So if you are ready, let's get started. So you're going to take your cardstock or your cardboard and your pencil, and you are just going to put your hand down, and we're going to trace around it. You don't want your fingers like this. You're going to want your fingers a little bit apart, because cut it out, and that'll make it easier. So I'm just going to trace around my hands. And as we trace and cut, I have some really cool facts for our hands. For example, there are 27 bone hands, which is maybe not astonishing because we have sort of 3 bones finger, 2 for our thumb, sort of in the palm of our hand and our wrist. But what did surprise me is we have over 120 ligaments and tendons in our hand. So we have 20 bones and 120, that's 6 or 7 ligaments per bone in our hand, which is somewhat shocking. All right, so if you've traced around your hand, we're gonna now put our hand out. The thing that I learned, which I thought was really cool, we don't have muscles in our fingers, which is interesting because my fingers can move. And I was like, we don't have muscles? I mean, everywhere else in our body, our muscles we're using the muscle to bend our arm up or to move our legs. So we have all these muscles that do work, but I can bend my fingers in very interesting ways without muscles. And I thought that was really peculiar. And it's because all of the muscles in our hand are actually in the palm of our hand. And those muscles pull on our ligaments and our tendons to bend the fingers, which is really interesting because if you think about rock climbers, they can hold all of their weight on just their fingertips, which is really shocking. I know a rock climber and she could put her whole body weight. I mean, she's in middle school. So she's a full grown human being, not teeny tiny. And she could probably hold her whole body weight with one finger. That would not surprise me at all. She's so strong.
Speaking of, don't try that at home.
Don't try that at home, because she has trained and she's like really, really good at what she does. She's a national level athlete. But it just shocks me that with no muscles in her fingers, she could hold her whole body weight by just those ligaments and tendons that are being supported by the muscles in her palms. So the muscles in our palms of our hands must be really, really strong, which I think is really quite amazing. The human body, it shocks me. It is such an amazing machine that we have. And the other cool thing I learned about hands is that basically humans and primates like apes are the only animals that have hands like ours. And koalas also have the opposable thumb, but other than that, it's pretty exclusive and it makes us really special. And I kind of dig that. All right. So if you've cut this out, we are ready to do a few more lines. And what we're going to do is we're going to place our hand on it and we're going to draw a line anywhere that our knuckles are. I'm going to grab out Curious George and I'll tape my hand down so that you guys can see as we are making it in a close-up fashion. Hang on. Get a little piece of tape to tape it up. Oh, I'm super glad I did my left hand because I am right-handed. All right, so if I put my left hand up on here, I'm going to make a little mark where all of my joints are. So I have a knuckle right here and a knuckle right there. And then, of course, I have this knuckle that comes right here. And I'm just going to make that line come all the way across. And I'll do it for all my fingers. So I'll just do little dots to start, and then I can draw lines across these dots to know where all of my knuckles are. And then we'll put one there. And this is sort of, the joints are where we bend things. So elbows are joints, knees are joints, our hips are joints. Our hips let us walk. We have joints like in our mouths that let our mouths go open and closed. And we have joints on our fingers. So another cool thing, we talked about how there's no muscles in our fingers and they're all in the palms of our hands. So the actual, where we pull our muscles to open and close our hands are sort of in our forearm and on the top of our arm. And I learned that there's 17 muscles that help us squish down. And of course we have to have muscles that help us open up, because otherwise I now have like a basically useless hand because I squished it down once. And that would not be useful, because babies love to like hold their hands tight. And so then for the rest of our lives, we would be like stuck like this with like little ball fists. But we do have 18 more muscles over here that actually pull the other way, and they let us open up our fingers. So there's more than 30 muscles. That's more than 5 muscles for every finger that we use. Isn't that amazing? That seems amazing. Evan's telling me about the sloth. And yes, oh, that's right. So I learned this cool thing about sloths. I don't know why we were learning about sloths recently, but I thought it was super interesting. So sloths are always upside down. And so their hands sort of go like this. And the reason why they're so slow on Earth, okay, they're just slow everywhere, but they're so slow when we see them sort of like trying to walk, is they don't actually have the opposite set of muscles. They rely on gravity to sort of fling it back open, and then they can grip, and then fling it back open and grip. So they don't have that set of muscles that sort of opens it back. And the same thing for their arms. They don't have the arm muscles that sort of lift, I think it is. It's like they can only do one direction, which is why if you see a sloth on the ground, it has a really hard time, the poor things. All right, so you guys are probably all done and being like, Dr. Erica, what is our next step? All right, here we go. So we've got all of our knuckles in place. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a bend on all of these spots right here. So I'm going to bend my fingers along all of those lines that are my knuckles. And that's just going to allow it so that we can actually bend. So we're going to bend at the joints. Otherwise, when I do this, it might just like curve down. And we know that our fingers don't curve. We have these nice, lovely joints that help us do more than just curve. It'd be hard to hold a cereal box if we were just curving. All right, and you want it to bend the way that you're going to have your finger bend. Okay. So as we're bending, the other thing that I'm so excited, this week is going to be so much fun. We are going to make poop tomorrow. So we are going to learn about digestion and our digestive system and our digestive tract, and we're going to go through all the parts, and you guys get to make poop at home. It's going to be amazing. Of course, it's fake poop. It's not gross. It's not going to be smelly. It's not going to be disgusting like that, but you're still going to get to make poop. And then like when your parents come home, well, they're okay, we're all home. But when they come out of their like little work hole, you can be like, guess what? I made poop. And they'll be like, what? And they'll probably be like, I don't want to see your poop. But I think it's really cool. So we're going to do that tomorrow. And then Wednesday, you guys can start brainstorming. We're going to do the model. We're going to make a model of the human cell. So you can start looking around the house and think about what will be a wall for your cell, what would be like a nucleus, what is going to represent your DNA. You could use noodles, you could use Legos. I'm really excited to see what people come up for that. And we'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. All right, so I've got this fabulous, lovely hand, and we need to now hook it up so that we can use the muscles. These are sort of representative of the muscles that are in the bottom of my forearm that will bring it closed. They are the flexor muscles that bring it closed. So we got to add these in first. So I'm really lucky. I happen to have all sorts of materials in my garage so we can do all different colors, but you don't need all different colors of straws. You do need you don't actually even need 5 straws because there's going to be extra parts to these straws, but I'm just going to grab 5 out. If you don't have straws, what you're going to do is you're going to take your piece of paper and you're going to roll it up so that it's nice and small. And you don't have to roll it all the way. You could sort of like cut a piece. We just need a piece that is going to allow us to thread some string through it. So if you need, we can do something like this. I like to pinch and roll. And once you get here, we'll just try to make it a little smaller. Let's see. Hard for my big fingers to get in here. Littler fingers might be more successful at getting this even smaller. But you can just keep doing it like this. And then what we'll do is we will cut off a little piece. We'll tape it together so it stays in a tube. And we can cut off little pieces of tube is one way that you can do it. Another thing we could do is if you don't like that idea, you could take some tape and you could roll it back on itself so it's not sticky and roll it up into a little thing, which will look kind of like a little straw tube. And then you could stick that onto your hand wherever you're going to need to stick it. Basically, what we need to happen is we need something that can slide through all of our joints or all of the bones that we have, these little model bones. So I have a string that is going to go through and I don't want the string to stick. So that's sort of the big thing. Straws are definitely the easiest, but if you want to make little tubes out of either tape or paper, you can try doing that too. All right, so the next part we're going to do, I'm going to tape my hand up here. Let's get it back up where it belongs on Curious George. And now I need to add my straws. You're going to cut them a little bit smaller than you think you should because you want this nice gap between all the spots. If you don't have a gap, in fact, my pinky, if there's not much of a gap here and it can't bend very much, whereas this one can bend a whole lot. So you do want this gap is important. So you're going to cut it smaller than you think you need to. So I'm going to, here's my pinky. I'm going to take a little tiny piece right here and cut my straw. And I will either tape or glue that little straw piece right there. So I'm going to use glue because glue is my favorite thing. So we'll just glue it up in that top piece right there. And then I got to keep doing this for all of my pieces. We will hang out and do that together. So you're just going to cut a little piece of straw like that. And then you're just going to put either some glue or you can tape it in place if you want to. And ooh, this one was a little longer than I thought. I'm going to put it down here so I can get a smaller one in the middle. I think it's too long for that middle piece. I'm going to cut a small piece. Whoop. I'm going to cut another small piece. There we go. So I have a little piece here and we'll add a little dab of glue. Just like that. And then I'm going to, so my strings don't get all sort of crazy here, I'm actually going to
glue another piece of straw that comes all the way down into my wrist. And I'm doing it all the way into my wrist because it's sort of this area where a lot of these muscles that flex and extend our fingers are located. All right, so I'm just gonna take the whole straw right now. And I'm just gonna give myself a line. It might come off the side because obviously the straws don't bend, and that's okay. We're just gonna do the best we can. All right, so we'll go like this, like that. And again, I wanna make sure I have a gap right here. So that is my pinky, and my pinky is done. And we are going to do this for all of our fingers. I'm gonna do the rainbow because I love rainbows. It's one of my favorite things. Rainbows and sparkle and glitter and neon. Like if I could have a favorite color in this world, it would be rainbow, sparkle, glitter, neon, flashing, which I know is not a color of crayon you could ever buy. But if you could, oh my goodness, I would be like first in line to get that color. It would just make me so happy. All right. So let's see, what are some other interesting things about hands? Our hands.
We have a couple people who showed up.
We have a couple people. Who needs a shout out?
It looks like when extra Hurt showed up,
Yay!
Jacob showed up.
Hello, Jacob. Welcome to the party.
And he said that his red and clear have sprouted, but the green has not.
Ooh, interesting. So Jacob, your green one is also not going very well. That's interesting. You know, I am really excited that we all did this together so that we can sort of crowdsource what is going on.
Then we have Griffin has shown up and said
Hello,
hi.
Griffin.
And Kavi showed up.
Hello, Javi. And maybe your brother too. Or maybe your brother's not joining us today.
And we had another Colin came in.
Another Colin.
He
Oh,
says
yay.
hello.
Awesome. All right, I'm going on to my middle finger now. So this part just takes a little bit of time. But if you're working right alongside me, you might even be finished before me. I'm sitting here chatting, learning about all these cool experiments that are still going on.
It looks like Calero and Sky are both here.
Hello, Calero and Sky, welcome. I am so excited that you guys are coming back to us today. You guys could decorate. Something that we can all do after this is decorate our hands. And I think if I remember, Calero likes Minecraft. I know Raiden likes Minecraft. So maybe we can make a Minecraft hand. That would be pretty cool. All right, here we go. These longer pieces might have been a lot easier with tape, in fact. All right, so now I've got that one. We'll do some green next.
We have a question.
Yeah.
How does a double joint work?
Ooh, that is a great question, and one that I might need to look up and double check. I think it's that most of our joints bend in one direction, and I think a double joint has extra pieces to the joint that allow it to bend in both directions, I think. But I am not actually sure about that. And you know what I love to do when I don't know something? Because I love finding out new things. That is like my favorite. I love not knowing something. And that lets me go look it up. And in fact, Evan is typing it into the computer right now so that we can learn something together.
Right. So it's not extra segments. It's actually that there's increased range of motion in their joints.
Ooh.
So they have extra flexibility in their ligaments.
So it's basically like a normal joint makeup, but it can just go further. Is that what it is?
Hypermobility syndrome.
Ooh. That's cool. Ooh, who asked that question? What a good question.
That was Amelia.
Ooh, thanks, Amelia. You helped me learn something today. And I love learning things.
So it looks like the difference between most people's flexibility is just how stretchy their ligaments are.
That makes sense.
And double jointed people have extra stretchy.
Extra
ligaments.
stretchy. I think is there a hormone that helps you get extra stretchy? I just remember when I was having my girls, when I was pregnant with them, there's a hormone that makes you extra flexible during that time. And I'm wondering if people who have double joints maybe have extra of that.
Relaxin.
Relaxin. That sounds just like what it should sound like. All right, this is my last one.
Griffin's double jointed.
Griffin, you're double jointed? How fun is that? Ooh, except for, you know what? I can't watch the people who are double jointed on like America's Got Talent and they have like the elbows or the fingers that like just totally bend backwards. Those ones are really hard for me. All right. So I have my beautiful hand with all of its straws or all of the tubes that you're going to make with either paper or masking tape, up to you. My glue is a little stringy. That's okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take string and we're going to thread it up. And before I do that, I'm actually going to cut all my straws to the same length. So down here, I'm just going to make a snip so that they're sort of all the same length, and that'll make it a little easier. All right, so I have found the easiest way is to start here with your string and go up through the joints. And it will be a little tricky as you go through the joints. If you can almost make the joints into a straight line, it actually is a lot easier. And you do want some string that's maybe not, like thread might be a little difficult because thread is really flimsy. Like my string sort of holds itself a little bit. And I'm just gonna thread it through. First the long tube, because I find that's just always the hardest. And it's gonna come out and I'm gonna get it through all of these other tubes as we go.
How long should they measure the string?
You could measure, so just make sure that you measure much longer than the actual piece, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna tie a bead to this end. And mine, on my finished product, I didn't actually leave that much extra, and that's totally fine. But you do want enough that it's not like coming up into the straw, right? We're gonna take some and we're gonna fold it over to glue it. So we do want some extra, maybe a couple inches. So you could measure the finger and then add a few inches. And then up here, you could either secure it with tape or hot glue. I might just use a piece of tape today, so I don't have to wait for it to finish gluing. I'm just gonna tape it on the back side right here.
Any suggestions for compostable straws that keep breaking?
Ooh.
They're too
brittle. When you cut them, they're breaking. Ooh.
If it's okay if they break, if they tape the ends so that the ends are.
Yeah, I mean, if you can just get, even if it's breaking, even if this straw was sort of broken like this, where it had like a cut. Also, shout out to you guys because you're using compostable straws and that makes me really happy. I get a lot of my straws. We have this auction out here called Rotary where people donate all sorts of crazy things. And I get I get like 5,000 straws. No, not 5,000, maybe like 500 straws from that for my classes. So even if it's cut like this, that would be fine because we're just using it as a tube. So if it's like, let's make a bigger cut slit here. So if it's sort of like this, where you have like a big slit, I would maybe tape that part down on the bottom. But you don't have to, it doesn't have to be huge. And this tube doesn't have to necessarily be as long. It'll just make it a little bit easier. So I'm curious if the compostable straws are shattering or if you're getting just not the length you were hoping for. Because if it's not the length you were hoping for, that should be fine. You could just go for a smaller length.
You could also try pre-taping the straw and then cutting it.
Oh, Evan has a brilliant idea. Yeah, maybe take a piece of tape like this. And you could wrap a piece of masking tape around the straw that you have. And that would maybe hold it all together so you could cut it like that. Ooh, I love great ideas like that. That is amazing.
We have a big conversation about how people can shake their eyeballs.
Oh.
And
shake your eyeballs.
I don't know how you would do that, but.
I mean, there are muscles on our eyeballs, but like shake your eyeballs, like not moving them in the normal way.
Yeah. Jackson asked how many muscles are in the palm. And it's actually the same amount of muscles that are in the fingers. We have 17. Well,
there's no muscles in our fingers.
Well, the same amount that are connected to the ligaments. The 17 ligaments that are.
Nice. All right. Oops. Sometimes it gets a little tricky. So what I like to do when it's a little tricky is if I pull this out, I can now loop it back in. It's less ideal, but it will work. Let's see if we can get this piece that's, ooh, it went right in. Just like that. So I got to keep pushing it in until it gets to the end. I'll push on this side. And I'll take a little piece of tape and I can tape this guy down too. So if you're doing this with us, this is like the most time intensive part right here. Is getting this all threaded up. which are almost done, actually. Once we have this part, we're almost done.
I'm going to start the Zoom classroom if anybody wants to switch over.
All right, Evan is starting our Zoom classroom. If anybody wants to switch over, you can switch over into Zoom, or you can continue on YouTube. It's up to you. Of course, I hope everybody will join us in Zoom afterwards so I can see all these magnificent hands. My girls are really excited for the Zoom because they're going to come and make some too. They are super excited to make their hands. All right, keep going through here. And sometimes if you're lucky, you'll just sort of thread all the way right through to the end, just like that. That's super handy. Super handy. We're talking about hands and it's super handy. That's pretty funny. There's a lot of interesting with hands, like handy, handwriting. What else do we use with that? We like hands are a really important feature of us.
Throwing. Catching.
No, I'm not talking about things that we do about like hand in the word.
If you're handy.
Right, handy is a good one. All right. We're just gonna get all these threads in here. Zoop.
Handsome?
Handsome. Ooh, do you think handsome people like way back in the day, they were like people with just large hands? And everybody thought people with large hands were handsome because they liked large hands? Curious minds want to know. I mean, all of our measurement, in fact, our math snacks for this week, if you want to do like a little extra math, is looking at the history of measurement because it be used as a way to measure. And if I measure something in hands and Evan measures something in hands, I guarantee you we will get a different answer. So there's a whole thing of like way back when people would probably get in a lot of fights about this, like feeling like they got maybe ripped off because they didn't get as much as they thought they should, but maybe their hands were just bigger. It's very interesting, quite tricky. And in fact, the foot used to be the measurement of a king's foot, which is pretty cool. All right. I'm on my last one. And get it threaded through. Just like that. And I'll tape that one in place too. And now, if you're at the same spot as me, you might have been finished, but if you're at the same spot as me, what we're going to do is we are going to cut all of these strings to be the same length. Because I found if you they're all different lengths, it's going to be harder to pull on certain pieces of it. So we're going to cut all these strings to the same length. Just one nice snip, or maybe not, according to my scissors. Who knows? Maybe 20 snips. All right, well, that did not do it, did it? Oh, no. I have one that's like really short now. We'll snip it again. I'll snip it more normal to myself. All right. So now I have all of these guys that are maybe a little bit short now because I snipped them a little short, but that's okay. And what we can do is we can glue little beads to the ends of all of them. And those just help to make sure that, I don't know, there's something nice to pull on if you want to. You don't really have to. They're not going to fall out because we're sort of taped up here. And you can see that I can now pull on these and I can make all my fingers move. Now, these are the flexor muscles that help our muscles come and like scrunch up. And you could also do extender muscles that will release them. And if you wanted one, add another set right here. But that's a lot of work. If you're having like this, because that's amazing. You could even like paint your fingernails. If you want it to spring back up, I have another little trick that will make that faster for you. But we should notice that like if I have my hand just hanging, that it is sort of like a little scrunched up. It takes me effort to actually have my fingers totally straight like that. So this is a very natural position. And if I want it to scrunch backwards, I can. So this one I've actually done that too. And if I pull on these, you'll notice they sort of go back into their position. And the quick and dirty way that I did that was I actually just added some elastic or rubber bands, hair band, anything on the back. And the way that you would do that if you wanted to would be to snip like a rubber band. Again, a hair band would work, piece of elastic would work, and just glue it down, maybe even tape it down to your finger so that it's straight. So you could do this. If I glue this down, this lovely piece of elastic right here, And you don't have to even stretch it out as you're gluing it. You just want it to be straight when it's straight. Because when we pull it, it will bend it and it will stretch it just slightly and it will want to stretch back to where it was. It will want to scrunch back up. All right, so if we wait for this glue to dry, and you can actually already see that my pinky finger is standing much more straight than my other fingers who are just sort of hanging out. But let's wait for glue to dry so that I don't sort of pull this down and then mess with the glue. But that is one way that we can do that if you want to. Of course, you could add a whole nother set of muscles and ligaments on the back, just like our actual hands have. So the top of our wrists in that area of our forearm has the other 18 ligaments that pull our fingers back. That lets me do sort of this motion. So I've got the 17 down here on the bottom that let me go like this. And then I have 17 on the top, I think 18 on the top, that let me open it up. So we do need both of these, otherwise I'm stuck in one position. And you could add a whole nother set of straws to show that it is muscles down here that are doing it, or you could add something like a rubber band, and you'll see how now it goes up just like that, which is very handy. So handy, which is amazing. All right, so that is our project today of learning about how we can move things even if we don't have muscles up here. I mean, that's amazing. We have no muscles in our fingers, and we can hold so many things. We can hold grocery bags, and we can pour milk with our fingers, and we can pinch salt with our fingers, and there's no muscles. That's like amazing. That's so cool. And you can start to do things like peace. You can figure out which 3 fingers you need to do for peace. And you can like pull them down. You could say peace, or you could wave hello. Oh, this one doesn't wave as good because I don't have the other set of ligaments on the back, but this one does a great job waving. I say hello. So you could use it. You could try to do sign language if you wanted to do sign language. That would be really cool too.
How?
I'm kind of interested to see how people might use these in different ways. So this is sort of learning about the structure of our body and how muscles and ligaments and bones and joints all play together. Tomorrow, we're going to learn all about what happens inside our bodies. So we're going to learn about digestion and what happens when we chew in our mouths and swallow. And we'll measure our digestive tracts, which is going to be really fun. Wednesday, what are we doing now? Oh, Wednesday, we're making our cell models. So we'll dig deeper into the cell of what makes us uniquely us. And so we'll learn about human cells, like animal cells, and we'll make models of that. And then Thursday, we're going even deeper into the cells. So we started like out here with like hands, and then we went sort of internal into digestion, and then we went focused into the cells. And now we're going to focus into the nucleus of the cell, and we're going to look at DNA because we're going to extract DNA this week, which is so exciting. I'm super stoked about that. And then after we do the DNA for our paper circuits on Friday, I have this awesome printout of an anatomical heart that you can learn the parts of the heart. And then when you move your finger over a piece of the paper circuit, it will make your heart go bump, bump, bump. And it'll beat up with light, which is super cool. So that's going to be so much fun. All right, if you haven't headed over into Zoom, but you want to join us and show me your projects, make sure you do that now. And then without further ado, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see you guys tomorrow. And I hope I see you in Zoom so I can see your guys' projects and help you troubleshoot and have lunch with you. Or maybe if you're over on the East Coast. All righty. Have a good one. Don't forget to join us on Patreon if you haven't already. And we will see you tomorrow. All right, did you trace your hand? Ooh, a beautiful hand you've traced. I love it. Georgia, do you want to come make your hand? Oh, she might not hear us. This one has all of them.